Welcome into Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. This is Will Dunn in here with Nick Truschel and Seth Coggin. As you know, we left our episode last week with a little drafting of our own super conferences. We'll get into that later. But first, let's kick it off. British Open, your boy. I hope the listeners listened. One of your boys' 8 picks, Cameron Smith, comes away with the dub. Nice little payday.
Yeah, what did we hit?
Yeah,
the Pay Dirt Collective hit.
It was just I put $12 down on him.
Nice. What was the
won 336.
Nice.
Well, and so I spread out $100 total over those 8 guys. So I profited 236.
There we go.
That's profit.
That's how the collective works.
That's how you do it. You just got to sprinkle
it around.
Spread
it up. We spread it far enough out that it always comes back positive.
Yeah. I do want to talk about this for a little bit though, just because Cam Smith, essentially 2 days just played out of his mind. I mean,
putting God.
like played good the first day, insane the second day, third day stayed in it, and then fourth day again just absolutely obliterates the course. Meanwhile, Rory has this big run on the third day, and to me, Rory played good enough on Sunday to win a major. I think he shot 2 or 3 under. You have a 4-shot lead or whatever. You expect to win those, and I don't know. I don't want anyone coming away from this thinking Rory choked another one away, because we've seen out of him being the favorite a lot of times, people are saying, oh, he can't put 4 good days together. Well, he did do it this time. It was just Cam Smith played. He had a Jordan day. He had a day that was unheard of, especially on that last day. So I'll leave it open to y'all. Just kind of your thoughts on the Open.
Yeah, Rory did. You just kind of touched on him, but he had a fantastic major season. He did not win, but I want to say he might have finished top 10 in all 4.
Yeah.
And came the closest at this one, which he has acknowledged that this course at St. Andrews, the British Open, is his ultimate prize. That's the one he wants to win. And that's got to be just kind of a disheartening, but also encourage. He did not, like you said, he did not choke. He played fantastic. He played solid. He played smart. He played really, really, really good golf for a lot of the all 4 days. And even Sunday, I mean, he wouldn't have played, admittedly, probably, his greatest round of all time, but he played a good enough round with a 4-shot lead on Sunday to win most majors. Because that means that a guy close to you, a guy within to the top 3 had a day for the ages. And that's what Cam Smith did, like you said. Awesome to see. Now he's already kind of slingshotting that fame into a possible LIV deal. What are the details on that? I mean, we can talk more about the actual tournament, but I think this coming out about LIV almost on the day after he wins the PGA in just an epic fashion, as a young, he is a lightning, not a lightning rod. I don't think he's polarizing in a bad way, but he just is a very recognizable figure in the game of golf. He's an Australian with a mullet, dude, and he's just amazing at golf. He's not just,
and he's young.
He's young, and he's just so super talented. So he is a big draw for the future of golf as a sport and whole. So them to be kind of drawing someone like him away, who just won one of the biggest tournaments, one of the majors, those are the winners that, if they're drawing away major winners, that is significant, extremely significant. So props to him for winning it. And honestly, props to him for I was kind of thinking about it. And I know that there are issues with where the money's coming from. I get that there are ethical and moral concerns, but at the end of the day, we kind of all face those in some way or another. If you could guarantee in the next 5 years that you're going to make the same amount, if everything goes good over the next 15 years at a different job, money that's not guaranteed. Even if I stuck with the PGA Tour, that money's not guaranteed. Yeah, it's theoretically there. It exists, but that means I got to stay healthy. That means I got to keep playing at the top of my game. I can't start missing cuts. Everything is dependent on me. If I could grab my potential career earnings, guaranteed money, it would be very hard. It would be a very interesting conversation to have.
And work a lot less.
So I don't know. It probably depends on why you're in golf, honestly. Like if you're in golf for the love of golf, like for the love of the game, like you truly, which some guys have kind of come out and said, which is props to them, like that's cool. But if golf is your job, if golf is your way to make a living, like it'd be almost impossible to really turn that kind of opportunity down. To just get that big, because I don't know what he'd sign for, but I'm sure. So what he win in the British Open? What was his purse?
It was like 2.5 million or something.
I bet it's bigger than that.
Well, the total purse was 14 million. I was looking at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I bet he
It was
wins.
less than I
Winner probably
expected.
wins like 40% of that, though.
Yeah.
So he probably wins like 6.
I was gonna say because I think the Masters is what, 5
like-
to 7.
Oh, dude, Masters winner is like 8.
I'm
It's
pretty
big-
sure I
it's
was
bigger
looking at
money
it,
now.
but maybe I was.
Pull
forgetting.
up the open purse. I'm gonna say a couple things too about Cam Smith.
Yeah.
First of all, I do want to say the thing
Yeah,
that was
two and a
awesome
half.
about what was it?
22%. So it was 2.5 million for winning the 2022 Open
See?
Championship. It was
Think about him-
22% prize increase from
Like,
last year.
The most he would ever. All right, not the most he'd ever win. Okay, I'm handicapped. All right, let's say he goes on to win 10 majors. Like, what's that in career earnings? Which would be an amazing. He would be like, that's like, okay,
One of
Maybe
the
one of the
best.
best of all
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
$35 million in earnings on those tournaments. Now he makes money from other tournaments, but if you're someone saying here's 100 million, that's
Yeah,
so
just
hard to deny.
guaranteed.
Well,
Yeah.
you do have to look at too, like some of these guys are losing sponsorships, like big sponsorship deals,
Yeah.
which again, you're turning around and making that money elsewhere. So
Yeah,
It's a
substitution. It's
they're
not
coming
like
out on
loss.
top still, like, but something to be said about it anyway. A couple things about Cam Smith I wanted to say real quick was over this tournament, it was awesome to see how he played aggressive the entire time. And it was just like his weekend.
Yeah.
Because there were so many shots that he put close that could have ended up really bad. So many putts he made that could have ended up way off the green, So props to him. I think his deal for LIV, what I saw was 90 million, which actually, if I'm him and I'm planning on going to LIV, I think he could have probably negotiated more, especially coming fresh off the Open win and what that's going to do for LIV Tour, I imagine. So that was one thing I was kind of, I don't know. We'll see about that. But then it also comes back. We talked about morals and stuff. And Tiger had a big kind of spiel on this, talking about what Arnold Palmer told him and everything, talking about growing the game of golf and keeping it, basically saying like honoring it at the same time.
Right.
So I think that's where you run into, Seth, you kind of touched on it with the, I forget what you were saying, just like honoring the game of golf, kind of over here and making sure the morals are there and keeping it respectable. I think that's something else you run into. I don't know. Like I just can't get past like where the money's coming from. Like that, I get it. Like so many guys have a price, but it's surprised me a little bit how many guys have chosen to go over there. Cam Smith surprises me. Guys like Brooks and DJ, that doesn't really surprise me. A young guy like Matt Wolf. Cam Smith, again, is kind of a young guy too, but I didn't necessarily see that coming from him. But this is real. It is totally real now. This is a true threat. And I don't think we mentioned it yet, but Faraday going over there,
Yeah.
which in my
leaving
mind tells,
NBC.
which tells me, does LIV have a TV contract lined up?
Got to.
You know?
If Faraday, like, yeah, some kind of media plans are
Yeah,
obviously in
something.
effect. I think they're almost betting on the fact that in a few years or even farther, like if it succeeds, no one's going to remember kind of the group behind it. It just like will be LIV Golf. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I know that sounds kind of, I don't know. I'm a little letting everybody off a little easy on that one, but it's kind of, that's how our brains work almost as humans. Like we do forget, like right now it's like, oh, LIV Golf is sponsored by these people, but it's like suddenly down the road, it's like, oh, it's just LIV Golf. Like I kind of forget where like, I don't know, maybe you don't, maybe that's why it like doesn't succeed. I think they're hoping that you do kind of forget who are the true backers of this project and you just enjoy the product. They're hoping their product's good enough to outweigh their bad like publicity, from the ownership perspective.
Well, and
Yeah.
I never really even thought about this, but I mean, some people talk about it, but not many people talk about the NBA in China. Like
Yeah,
no one
that's
really
their
thinks
biggest
about it.
revenue. Or
Yeah.
one of their biggest revenues. I'm not sure if it beats out the US, but I know China makes a ton of money for the NBA.
Yeah.
and they go play out in China and do the tour out there or whatever. So yeah, it's a lot of weird things going on.
Yeah, it's a little like holier than thou kind of thing. It's like, yeah, they're taking money from kind of detestable people, but like, I'll be honest, if I go sell a golf cart and some douchebag walks in that's like obviously a bad person and he,
He's
buys
got
a
money.
big
I
golf
mean,
car, and I pocket, my commission, like I'm probably gonna take it, like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
who am I to
Money
talk? I'll
talks.
be honest.
Money
Like if
talks.
someone was paying me 90 million for the next to just commit me for the next like 10 years, like you're not even committing my whole life. Like this is just all right. I'll sign a contract for guaranteed money for the next 10
and
years,
then retire a happy man. Like,
and
Yeah.
then maybe do a lot more good on the back end. Maybe I can
Yeah,
convince
you can make
myself
up
that.
for it.
Yeah, I'll give half of that money away.
I do kind of like, I'm getting to the point where I agree people will almost forget about it, or people will just decide to kind of turn
Yeah.
a blind eye and not really care about it. I think
And
that's what it's
people
going to
just
come
kind
down
of quit
to.
paying attention to that stuff too. Like they just want to watch the game of golf, and if they
Exactly.
enjoy it, they're just going to be like, oh well, I'm not really thinking about any of that stuff. That's in the back of my head. I'll just watch this golf because it's fun to watch.
Well, it's entertainment. People will still
Yeah.
want to watch the best play the best wherever it's coming from.
Yeah, there was
Faraday though, man. Faraday throws me for a loop. Like I think that's a big. I think
That's
that's
huge.
bigger than a lot of people think. Like he is the Golf Channel to me.
Yeah.
Like whether it's announcing or doing a show, like Faraday's a big pull for me. Do
Yeah.
we want to hop into a little bit of SEC Media Days?
There was one thing that I wanted to talk about with Rory really quickly, a cool
Yeah.
tweet that I saw, and then we can get into the SEC Media Days. So I saw a tweet of there was the aggregate major scores of golfers who made the cut at all four in 2022. So we had Hatton at plus 19, Reed plus 15, Neiman plus 13, Hideki plus 6, Rahm plus 4, JT was minus 3, Fitzpatrick was minus 16, Zalatoris was minus 21, and Rory was minus 29 through all four majors and couldn't get a win. I mean, that is just, that is disheartening. I mean,
Yeah.
that sucks. The dude has put together some great performances, but it just hasn't worked out in the end.
At least he got paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Made
still
a lot of money this year.
He's made a lot of money. So.
Yeah, I saw another stat similar to that one. It was like he has beaten 97.5 or 98.5% of golfers over the four majors,
So
and
I mean,
somehow
he's-
not won one or something.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, he had a good year still, so you can't feel that sorry for him. But it does kind of suck that he's played that well and just hasn't been able to finish the job.
I did have a weird problem as Tiger was making his last walk on St. Andrews anyway. He did say he was going to keep playing. He would play some more British Open.
Yeah,
so
he was crying, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Or-
but we do have it is good to know we got a couple more years of Tiger, most likely. But it will be his last time at St. Andrews, he said. As he was walking across, the announcers, I think they were just talking. They were trying to make a moment, but they were trying to compare it to Jack Nicklaus, like on his last time handing the torch over to Tiger. And they were saying that about Tiger and Rory. And I was like, all right, let's hold up here. First of all,
Yeah,
Rory's not really, I mean, he's still young, but he's not like,
he's been
not
around
a
for a
young
minute,
guy.
though. Yeah,
he's not the young guy anymore. And also I wanted to say, Rory, look, there's a good chance he wins another major or a couple more, but let's not
check that box off.
I get passing
already.
passing the torch doesn't necessarily mean he's the next Tiger or anything, but I did kind of have a problem with them saying that was what was going to happen. I was like, look, Rory's got to win another major before we start saying he's going to be carrying the torch for anything. No offense. I know he's number one, but let's just hold the phone on that a little bit.
Yeah, because he hasn't won one in 8 years?
A long time. Yeah. He's had a couple of really good chances, but
Yeah, came in second at the Masters and just hasn't kind of had that insane game that gets you the win, or that insane round.
Every time you see kind of a golfer, and we'll probably keep continuing to see it, like flash in the pan of dominance and then, coast off. Like I think of three guys in particular, Rory, and then Spieth, and then Koepka.
Yep.
And all three still relatively in the primes of their careers. So like definitely have opportunities to continue to win. But, you saw them all at one point in time over the course of 8 tournaments or 12 tournaments win a chunk of them, like be just the best by far at the craft. But all of them kind of had moments where they slipped back and kind of lost. I don't know if it's that edge of like victory, of like great victory, or they just couldn't put all the factors together, or they got in their own head. Like, I mean, golf is such a mental game and physical. Whether you're not, Kepka hasn't been 100% healthy for a while, or at least he wasn't there for a while, and that definitely can affect you in a lot of ways. But it's just a testament again to the greatness of Tiger Woods, of like how long his extended run of just dominance was, like how much of a stranglehold he had on the field of golf. Just like no one had. Tiger just shut the door on everyone. He had like no people had so little opportunity to win. That's why like people I saw some people talking about the eras today of golf, like how much more competitive people like to trash on Tiger's era sometimes. But like if Tiger's not there, you're probably talking about 4 or 5 guys that win 8 majors or something like there were great players there. They just didn't have, like, he suffocated them. He was just so dominant and so good and so consistent for such an extended period of time. And even he didn't have, he almost burned so bright that it was almost impossible that he could continue that kind of run at that level, just with the way he torqued his body, all that kind of stuff. Like beyond the stuff outside of golf, like let's think about his actual injuries that he did. Like he just his body couldn't hold up the extreme stress he was putting on every single swing. And I mean, think about all the practice he did. He's just absolutely ripping up his body to be at that high level. But just watching these guys kind of be a flash in the pan, be great for 2 seasons, win 3 out of 8 majors and like an amazing run. But then Tiger did it again, and he did it again, and he won 3 out of 8, and then he won 3 out of 6, and then he won 3 out of 8. He did it again and again and again over the course of how kind of I guess his real dominant career was what, like
I guess 97 was that
97 to 08 was kind of like his true run of like, like where he just was everything. So, and I mean, he won how many majors in that pretty much that span? His last one was
14 majors from 97 to 08.
So anyway, I know we weren't even talking about Tiger Woods, and we tend to come back to like,
well, we were
some of our favorites quite often, but I mean, it sucks sometimes to watch him struggle, but like it still doesn't feel like he's done, like totally. Like Tiger Woods will finish a few more top 10s. I would bet, probably most likely at the Masters, because that's just where he really is built to succeed and where he like finds an edge over other players, that course. I don't know, maybe not, but I just feel like I don't think he would keep playing if he didn't truly believe he could be a factor. I think he knows his limitations, and he knows, like, and this season is definitely even different because he's truly coming off big injury, like not just a little pain.
Almost
they
lost
said
his leg.
The announcers said they had talked to some orthopedic surgeon like right before the British Open, and the surgeon was like, what he's doing is literally impossible. Like they were talking about the muscles that you have to use to make this swing aren't even there anymore. He's having to pull power and torque from other muscles to get them to like push the ones that aren't there. I mean, it's insane. And along with that, I still think he's kind of not ready. I think he kind of pushed himself to make it to even just 2 of these majors this year, or maybe 3, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think as like he continues to rest and get used to this new body that he has, I mean, he's still hitting the ball.
Yeah.
That's all you can really ask for. Like he can still get it down, and he's got the power still. Like, I don't know. I agree with you, Seth.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously right there. I mean, yeah, he was a few shots behind the true, like, well, quite a few, but he's playing professional golf, like at a high level. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
And we just almost take it for granted because it's Tiger Woods. Like him doing something so remarkable is just Tiger being Tiger. And so like him having this impossible comeback that for anyone else probably doesn't happen. It's just Tiger being Tiger, kind of taking it for granted. But we've learned a lot from him down the road. So it'll be fun to watch the end of his career play out. I'm glad we've gotten to kind of see him. I'm honestly like, I hope we get to see him be old. Like, I hope we see him one day be a starter at the Masters when he's 85, you know? And it's like on the tee, a 7-time Masters champion, Tiger Woods.
That'd be
And
awesome.
he's an honorary starter. And we get to see him age gracefully and be a great ambassador for the game for a long time to come. So thank God for the Genesis QV80, GV80 for saving that man's life.
Yeah.
What a great car.
It is
Made by
great-
Hyundai.
Shout out Genesis. Shout out
Shout out
Hyundai.
South Korea.
Well, with all that, I think we can head into SEC media days. Really,
Let's talk it.
if y'all
Who
have
all went
anything-
today? Who all went? This was just day one on Monday,
Yeah.
right?
Brian Kelly went today, right?
Oh, that's right. Brian
God.
Kelly. That's boring though. See, Brian Kelly is so boring. He might actually do pretty good because he's like boring enough.
Well, but think about, had he ever been to a media day?
Yeah. Oh,
Notre
well,
Dame?
at some point, maybe at Cincinnati.
I think
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati was his last one.
Probably.
Because does Notre Dame, what do they
I don't-
do?
They have their
Anything?
own TV deal, right? So they don't really
yeah, but I don't think they
associate
do
with
like
anything.
a Notre Dame
Yeah,
media day or anything.
I don't think
It's
they
just-
do.
Yeah, you just have your press conferences and whatnot, you know? So I don't know, something to think about. The one thing I wanted to touch on, and then we can move into some other stuff. Greg McElroy came out and said that he believes Josh Heupel is under the most pressure out of all SEC coaches and that expectations may be a bit too high. Now, I don't know if I can agree with that, but you think about it, and we'll talk about it in a second. We talked about it a little bit before. It doesn't sound as crazy when you talk through it, but I do want to say I do not think Heupel is under really any pressure as long as he wins 7 games. Like I don't think he has to make some big jump this year. I don't think he can have a losing season for sure
No.
after what he showed last year, and because you do have talent coming back. I'm one to say Tennessee fans, I think, keep forgetting like this defense is not very good, or at least it wasn't last year. Maybe it's better this
Yeah.
year. So we'll see how that plays out. But I expect Tennessee to win 7 or 8 games. And I think if he does go 7-5 and it's not as great of a year as Vol fans are hoping for, I don't think he's on the hot seat or anything necessarily.
Yeah, I
Pressure
think.
is
Oh, go ahead, Seth.
well, I think pressure could mean different things. Like, is he on the hot seat, as in like getting fired? Probably not. But is there pressure on him to put together a really good season? Yeah, I mean that is a little more kind of along the lines of maybe. I'm not. I don't think he's under much pressure. I would put other guys ahead of him, but I'm just kind of thinking through it. You know, like because let's be honest, if he goes 6-6, like which would be a regression. Which anytime you regress, it's bad. But if he like the fan base would turn on him probably pretty quick. Like Tennessee fans are
Pretty
not,
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not even crazy. Honestly, I think they're maybe good at recognizing when like someone doesn't have it. Like it's like, oh, he's like,
Yeah, we can
if the
cut
fan
ties
base, if you
quick.
lose the fan base, like that momentum, like right now he has the momentum. Like he's recruiting really well. See, and that's gonna save him too. Like he's not really under that much pressure because he's recruiting well. When you
Right.
keep recruiting well, like that saves you, that gives you time because it's like, oh yeah, well, we may not be great this year, but look at this class I've already got coming in. Like I'm bringing in more talent. It's when you start to struggle and recruit bad, then that's when things start rolling in the wrong direction for sure. And that's when you do get a lot more pressure a lot fast. So I would look at more guys that aren't recruiting very well. Like I don't know who would be on the most pressure in the SEC. We've kind of got an interesting blend now of new coaches that haven't had any time to be kind of on the hot seat, blended with like coaches who have had pretty good success in their short tenures. You know, guys that came in at similar times. Lane Kiffin's doing well at Ole Miss. Pittman's done great at Arkansas. Who's kind of Mike Leach has done okay. He's not on. I wouldn't put him on the hot seat down at Mississippi State. And then like guys like Brian Kelly are too new, you know, Shane
Yeah.
Beamers and maybe year 3. And I mean, I would honestly put Heupel in that category. What's this? Is this year 3?
Year 2.
No, it's just year 2.
Just year 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a good first year. I mean, I don't.
With
That does seem
inheriting
kind of baseless.
a mess of a program after Jeremy Pruitt, like
I'd put the most pressure on Jimbo because he's kind of
agreed.
brought that on himself. But I don't know, Nick. What do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of going along with what you said, Heupel recruiting at fell a couple of spots over the weekend to number 7, but still in the top 10, which I mean, that's all you can really ask for. Put up the best numbers we've ever seen on the offensive side of the ball for Tennessee last year. How can you possibly put him on the hot seat? So I think kind of going along those lines, yeah, he does have some pressure, but that is what an SEC head coach, that's what the job comes along with. There's going to be pressure. You have millions of fans wanting their team to succeed. So I think that that's something that he knew was going to be there and is going to come along with the job. And I could see 7-8 wins realistically with the ceiling as high as 10 wins. I think kind of going around there, and Bama and Georgia are going to be tough, but he hung with Alabama until the end of the fourth quarter, really the second half of the fourth quarter last year, made some noise there. Florida is going to be down, so that's really big. Georgia, they're going to be in their natty hangover. So I think this is a big year for Heupel right here. So yeah, I could kind of understand, I guess, the pressure aspect a little bit, but not really hot seat. And then I agree with Jimbo Fisher that he's got the most pressure really being put on him because all right, he's got the recruits. He's got the years under his belt. He fired up Nick Saban, and there was all this talk about bad blood between them.
Dude,
And
I
A&M
could see A&M. I could see A&M going 7-5 this year.
Yeah, they certainly
very
could.
very easily. They go 7-5, and I mean, is Jimbo still there if they go 7-5? I think he is because they've guaranteed him so much money. But
yeah.
I would want to be Jimbo if they go 7-5. They may not. They may have a better year than that, but I wouldn't doubt it. I'll be honest. I could see that. You know what? You know who I actually think the most pressure is on is Brian Harsin.
I was about to say he's
and
on the
we haven't really
seat.
talked about him a lot, but I think I don't know if he's got the most pressure.
He's on the hottest seat.
I think he's on the hottest seat. We talked about that before the show. We kind of didn't even mention him, but he's definitely on the hottest seat.
Yeah, with that, he was almost fired already.
Yeah, his seat was burning red in February, and somehow he survived that. So, I personally think, I just have a bad feeling that Auburn's going to have a really bad year, and he's going to get the cut. Because I mean, think about recruiting. He's not doing great in recruit. Like we talk about how that can help you if you're on kind of the borderline. If you're on kind of the borderline of being in bad graces with the fans and boosters and everything, and you're recruiting bad, it's
not
see
a
a boy,
recipe
it's
for
see a boy,
success.
and you've already brought a bunch of negative press to the university. Like
no one wants to work for you either, apparently.
Yeah, Derek Mason bounced out of town. They were butting heads, and now he's
when he fired. State. What did he do? Didn't he have 3 offensive coordinators?
Yeah, 3 defensive coordinators in the offseason.
Yeah, in the offseason. Like how does that happen?
Yeah, that's not good. That is not a good sign. Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate that goes too well. I think it does set up pretty good for Heupel in this year, which I think maybe that does put a little pressure on him because he plays LSU right out of the West. Like in year 1 with Brian Kelly, like you need to take advantage of that chance to beat LSU. Yeah. Year 1 with a head coach, if you don't beat them in year 1, if they start having success, you might not get them for a while. A program like that, like LSU, I would honestly put maybe Florida, and kind of Alabama as a few of the, like Nick Saban's first year, they were susceptible that, they went like 7-6 his first season there, but by year 2, they were 10, they had taken a big leap where it became a lot more difficult to beat them in year 2. So year 1 with both Napier in Florida and then Kelly in LSU. So like great chances for big wins over those programs, which if you beat Florida and LSU in a season, and throw in some other
win of a season,
maybe go 9-3 with wins over both of them, and that's a really fun year, and I think a lot of people be pumped about that. So I actually think maybe it's a good type of pressure. It's like he has the pressure on him because he has an opportunity to have a really good year
because he set expectations.
Yeah, he set. Yeah. He's put pressure is a privilege. Pressure is a privilege, man. It truly is kind of he has pressure on him to succeed because he's shown that he's capable of success. And you've got a good quarterback. That helps a lot, in terms of that builds expectations, because when you have a good quarterback, it means, you can have the possibility to be a really, really good team. And so when you got that in place and you already know that that's solidified, it does raise expectations. But let's meet them and exceed them.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. And I'm looking at the recruiting rankings here. Auburn is all the way down at number 73. With teams like Kansas, Florida Atlantic, Western Michigan, East Carolina, San Diego State ahead of them.
Not pretty.
Harsin,
Not
you got
good.
some work to do, buddy.
I think they already know that Harson's gone.
I could see Auburn burning to the ground this year. Like I could see it going really bad.
Yeah, like a 2 or 3 win season.
One thing I didn't realize about LSU, and I guess I just missed this whole thing, but I guess the quarterback's going to be Jaden Daniels from Arizona State.
Yeah.
That kid can play. That changes things a little bit for me. You don't have just kind of they had 2 or 3 game managers playing last year, so I think, who knows? I'm not saying they're going to do that great, but that does change the tune on them for me a little bit, just knowing they have like a playmaker at quarterback. Yeah, but like you said, I think that's why I don't think there's a lot of pressure, because I think if Heupel can, beat Florida, just beat Florida.
Yeah.
And that's very attainable this year.
Yeah,
extremely
if you can beat Florida and you go,
if you can't beat them this year though, that's a bad sign.
Oh, then it's bad. But if you beat them and you go 7-5, like I think Tennessee fans are like, you know what, beat Florida. Maybe we were competitive against Bama or Georgia. That was another step in the right direction, even though the win total wasn't any better. We beat a rival, beat Florida, who we've beaten one time in the last 12 years or whatever.
Yeah. We are hungry for that Florida win. I'm hungry for a Bama win. That's what I want. I want that even more than Florida. Crazy things can happen.
You got a chance. You had a chance last year. There's no reason to think you don't have a real chance this year. I think the defense is just going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough to.
Hendon Hooker coming back. Who knows? He could just put on his Heisman season.
I hope so.
And maybe a Cam Newton-esque, just will his team to victory.
Now that's KJ Jefferson's putting on that season. I'm calling it. Look, maybe I'm wrong, but I've watched him take over ball games like you don't see very often, where a quarterback is in complete control of the game. Like not even just the offense. Somehow he's in control of like the game. He's inspiring our defense. Like when your quarterback, I think what it really is when you see your quarterback running over defenders, like willingly pounding defenders, putting his shoulder down and just running over defenders, like it makes the defense pumped up. It pumps up your offensive linemen. It makes everyone want to go harder. And so I think that's what I'm predicting. You know what? I need to find what the futures bet is on a KJ Jefferson Heisman, because I'm just saying Arkansas goes 10-2. KJ has an elite season. He's a playmaker. He rushes for 450 yards, scores a bunch of touchdowns, and leads Arkansas to a really good season with some signature wins. It's very possible.
Seth, was you responded to a tweet about the top 4 SEC quarterbacks? Did we talk about that last week, or did you do that this week?
Did we talk about that? I don't think we did.
We talked about Will Levis last week, but
we did. It's like kind of we had that conversation, but we didn't. It wasn't even about the tweet. We just were talking about the top quarterbacks in this. Maybe it was a little bit, but let's just. I know we've got a lot to cover. Well, really, we just got the draft after this, but let's go into that just real quick, because I saw your tweet and I want to talk about it.
The rankings right here, the SEC quarterback rankings,
and it's by what? Pro Football Focus, like PFF. That's right.
Yeah.
But what's it based on? Like, I thought they were stats guys. What are they? They're just willy-nilly just ranking people now.
So I think the one that I had pulled up was
they have to be, right. That's the whole thing with Levis.
Else.
Like his stats are not good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you even have stats for Spencer Rattler? He sucked at OU. The quarterback.
Spencer Rattler had his sophomore year was really good. No. Or his second year. Yes.
Golly.
I thought this is his second year.
No,
dude,
this is third year playing.
These PFF rankings, SEC quarterback rankings are.
That's what I think he was a freshman last year.
No, Rattler's played.
No, this is his third.
Years.
This is his third or fourth year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he redshirted and then had 2 years, right? Or no, maybe this is his third.
No,
year.
I think he's played at least 2 years.
Yeah.
All I know is he was placed into the system that is the most favorable system for quarterbacks in like the history of football at Oklahoma.
Okay,
a
but how can
system that
we-
is consistently produced amazing, and he couldn't
Yeah, but
even
no.
really
Listen
succeed
to
at that high of
what
level.
were you about to say? The 3 quarterbacks that have been in it are literally all in the NFL, though. Like,
Yeah,
they're
but
like,
okay,
we
Jalen
don't.
Hurts. Yeah, but Jalen Hurts, he transferred from Alabama, and then he comes to OU and is a Heisman contender because like Lincoln Riley's offense put him in an amazing position. I'm not saying he wasn't good, and I'm not saying Rattler's terrible, but like if a good quarterback in the perfect system is great. Like
Yeah.
if you put a good quarterback in that system, he's gonna look really good. And
Well,
so
we don't know that, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
if
that's
you
fair.
put a game manager in there, would it look like that? Like, you still have to have some pretty insane.
Because I guess they
intangibles.
have had very talented quarterbacks on top of that. So like, I guess we haven't
all
seen an
I'm
average
saying is if
quarterback.
he was really good, actually, this is not all I'm saying. This is a totally different point. If Spencer Rattler was legit, he would not be at this USC. Let's just say that. Spencer
point.
Rattler was legit.
point.
He'd be out in Hollywood with
That's
Lincoln
true.
Riley. But no, he was the second. He wasn't the guy. Like, I mean, not that the other guys, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb
good
Williams
player,
could just be amazing.
but he had chance over Caleb Williams. Like, he got the nod over. Like, he had the opportunity first, and he kind of blew it. Like, he blew it by not producing enough. And now he's at USC and South Carolina instead of Southern California.
Yeah.
And I think he's in for a little bit of a rude awakening. I don't think his team's like uber talented around him. And
That's right. Yeah, I think the problem.
think he's
Yeah.
going to struggle.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. He might even be pretty decent and make South Carolina okay, pretty good even. But like to go ahead and immediately call him the second best quarterback in the SEC is kind of actually disrespectful to a couple good quarterbacks, like really good quarterbacks who have elevated their team in the SEC for an entire season. So that's kind of where so you immediately kind of go to trashing a kid. Well, I'm not really trying to trash Spencer Rattler. Like, I really think he might have pretty decent success, but to just go ahead and throw him as the second best quarterback in the league, where he hasn't even been in the league, hasn't won a single game, and some of these guys have had fantastic seasons already in the SEC, like at the same school where they're primed to probably succeed more. It's just kind of silly.
I would agree with
but
that.
that's
Yeah.
what these are silly lists for us.
Dude, I'm
have
looking at the PFF
discussion.
list and it's just pissing me off.
Yeah, it's
Like,
bad.
They had 11 SEC teams had their quarterback ranked inside the top 50 overall. The teams that did not have a quarterback rank include Vanderbilt, Missouri, and A&M. So that's pretty funny that A&M doesn't have
all right,
anything.
yeah, talk about A&M. That's a bad sign for Jimbo.
Yeah.
Not having a solidified quarterback can
You gotta have a
cost you
QB.
games. In the SEC, where you're on that razor thin edge, and there's you've probably losing a couple games off the top, and then there's about 6 games that could go either way, and you don't have a great quarterback. You're probably losing more of those than you win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to come down to if that Haynes King kid can play, because he was injured last year, right? He was
Mhm.
supposed to play, I think.
Yeah. And then
Um,
didn't Calzada end up at Auburn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Trucial, give me like the top six
So
or
I've
8
got
or something.
the list here. They only have,
Yeah.
I think, 8
Okay.
no, maybe they have 10. Yeah, they have 10. But so I'll quickly list these off, and they actually give you the overall ranking and SEC ranking as well. So Bryce Young comes at number 1 on both lists, so both in the SEC and overall as the best quarterback in the country.
Fair.
Rattler comes in at number 2, but also number 3 overall in the country.
Yeah, no, I got a
See,
problem with
that's-
that.
They've
Number-
just,
the
they've
third
gone
best
big game
quarterback in the
boomer on
country?
us right now. They've pulled a big game boomer on us and put someone who's
Like
notable
Caleb
name
Williams
that people
and Spencer
understand.
Rattler. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Will Rogers at Mississippi State coming at 3, overall ranking 16. Will
That's
Levis
kinda-
coming at number
yeah.
4, and then overall 19.
I don't know where that came from. The stats don't even back it up.
He had
what?
like 2 good games.
Well, he didn't even throw that many touchdowns. Like, he didn't have that many touchdowns
Yeah. I mean, like,
or
I
yards.
feel like that
Like anything
Tennessee
that-
game just boosted his stats up enough to where people were like, oh, he's going to be really good, just because our defense was horrible. And it was like, that's just the way the game went. They both were slinging. Like, Hendon Hooker had like 5 touchdowns that game too. So
Levis is also the reason they lost. He threw a pick.
Yeah, he
6.
threw a
Like,
pick. And then we have it coming in at SEC ranking number 5, overall ranking number 22 a trio of Miles Brennan, Garrett Nussmeier, and Jaden Daniels at LSU.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Number 6, we have Hendon Hooker at Tennessee, 23 overall. Number 7, 26 overall, KJ Jefferson. Number 8 and 28 overall, Zach Calzada at Auburn. Number 9 and 30 overall, Anthony Richardson at Florida. And then rounding out the list as the 10th best SEC QB and 34th best QB in the nation, Stetson Bennett in Georgia. I think this list is all scrambled in a lot
Like
of different
Stetson
ways.
Bennett should be higher just because I assume his stats were pretty good. And you have to give him something. Like he led a team to a national title. I don't
Yeah,
care
and
what
he
Fair
played
enough.
well.
He led a team to the Natty.
Yeah. And so, but obviously I would put Hendon Hooker and KJ in the top 4. Levis doesn't belong in there at all. Rogers,
I put Rogers in there. He'd be my 4th guy.
yeah, he would be my 4th guy.
I mean, dude, Stetson Bennett had 29 touchdowns to 7 interceptions last year.
Yeah. And Hendon
That's
Hooker
pretty
had,
good numbers.
and Hendon had 31 to 3.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he's not in the top 4 baffles me.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't it also, if you're putting Spencer Rattler, it's expectations for next year as well, correct? So like Hendon Hooker, I would expect him to have a much bigger
Yeah.
and better
He
season.
didn't even start the
next
whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, he started
So
pretty much the whole year.
pretty
but
much. Joe Milton was a
Could have gotten a
bad,
couple
bad
more-
experiment.
where's Joe Milton on the list? He's got to be pretty high.
Yeah.
It's
I have
crazy that
no
Tennessee
idea.
has 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks in the SEC this year.
Someone
Awesome.
mentioned that on the show I was listening to today. There's like, there's probably some fans out there that wouldn't mind seeing Joe Milton get in there and throw it 85 yards every now and then
Yeah.
instead of
Every now and then.
like
We could
they'd
do
rather see
some kind of 2 QB, some trick plays, 2 QB trick
well, like
plays.
so they said they'd rather see Joe Milton overthrow a guy, but watch it go 85 yards than watch Hendon Hooker throw the 4-yard check down for like 40 yards or whatever that it turns into.
Joe Milton throwing bombs is awesome.
Yeah, I mean the dude can't sling it, but it's nowhere near the receiver. So
Hey, who knows? Maybe he'll get it. He's sticking around. Who knows?
yeah,
Maybe
I'm surprised he stuck around. Honestly, I thought he would have transferred and tried to find a job somewhere else. But
I mean,
Good for
if he
him.
does, he's gonna have to go like lower level. So maybe he's thinking he
It's
gets
redemption time.
yeah,
Maybe he thinks he
he's
can get
betting
1
on
year.
himself.
Is he backup quarterback? Like, is he number
Yeah.
2?
Yeah, Hendon Hooker's a clear start.
Not a bad number 2 though.
No, I
honestly.
mean, and that's big too, because I mean, injuries can obviously happen, and having Joe Milton at number 2, who's serviceable at least. I mean, he's going to screw up some stuff, but maybe
he's gonna throw some bombs. I mean,
Sleepy
he might
Joe.
complete on it too. He might
Yeah.
complete 1 or 2 and get lucky. And
But also, he could have the pressure and kind of the mental stuff taken away, being the backup.
Yeah.
And let's say he comes in and is just slinging it and out there carefree. Who knows? Maybe he performs a lot better.
That'd be amazing.
I could see Joe Milton winning a game.
Last second of the Bama game, Hendon Hooker has to come out for like a turned ankle or something, and Joe
Yeah.
we got 80 yards to go, Joe. 1 play, do your stuff. Yeah, wait,
Yeah.
Hooker doesn't have to get injured. We just have to be 80 yards away for like
Yeah.
No, it's like
Honestly,
90
you put
yards
it-
away.
you
You're on
put
like
in
the
Milton.
12-yard line, and I want to see him truly back up to the end zone on his drop back, like hit the goal line on his drop back, take a few steps, kind of a crow hop, and just launch it and see if he could get it. See
they
if
need
he
to
could
do that
complete one.
like at the end of a half or something.
Yeah.
Say we're playing, like throw him in and just let him throw a Hail Mary if it's the last play and we're not in field
I mean,
goal
he
range.
came
I
in
would
for
honestly-
the Ole Miss last game or Ole Miss game last year.
Well, yeah.
And then he just ran out of bounds after clock expired, which was so stupid. But God, that made me that
When he
game
threw
made me so
before, like he
mad.
threw the ball in the right spot. He just threw it 200 miles an hour. Like
Yeah.
no one was catching that. God.
If
That
I
was
was
such a-
Heupel, I would send him out there a couple times a game. And I'll tell him just throw it as like if you throw it into the stands, I don't even care through the back of the end zone. Like just uncork,
Unleash
one.
it, yeah.
Just let it go.
They get an
just send
applause.
Seti Tillman deep and just let that cannon loose. Who
You
knows?
wanna stretch
that
the
his first-
field?
He did that in the first game last year. He threw a
Yeah,
Hail
we
Mary
were
to
at that
Cedric Tillman.
game.
Yeah.
God,
Gosh.
that Pitt game was so frustrating.
Oh, I think y'all are gonna beat Pitt this year for sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
I mean, you
Hopefully.
should have
gonna-
beat them last
We're
year.
gonna, we're
but-
gonna ruin their season just like they ruined our. Well, they didn't really ruin it, but yeah, it'll be nice to just beat them down in Pittsburgh too.
Yeah.
That day y'all played Pitt, that was the day of the Arkansas Texas game, and I actually watched most of that game in one of the big auditorium classrooms on campus. We pulled it up on like the big projector, and we were just chilling in there, had our cooler, and it was awesome. Honestly, we got there like the game was I think it was an 11 a.m. or noon kickoff, and Arkansas didn't play till like 7, so we were already on campus like super early, just chilling, watching the Vols. It was a tough
Nice.
loss though. It was a
It
fun way to
was.
watch, but not a fun one to
We
watch.
shot ourselves in the foot too many times that game.
Yeah, it's okay. It was the start of the Heupel era.
Yeah,
You're gonna go up to Pittsburgh and prove what's up
exactly. With no Kenny Pickett too, it should be a cakewalk.
with Joe Milton at QB1.
Yeah, we let Joe Milton get his revenge.
Joe Milton's revenge.
We need to someone
might
on
start
Twitter
that.
needs to coin it that Joe Milton, Big Joe's revenge game.
I was gonna say, like, I think I might just start being like Joe Milton Revenge Tour 2K22. Like, that's
could
my
happen.
personality on Twitter. Like, I just am a Joe Milton
Yeah,
stan.
Joe Milton fan.
Just going crazy for Joe.
I love it.
And just like pissed when he's not in the game. Like
Yeah,
Hendon
just
Hooker could be
Joe
doing
Milton's
it great,
burner.
and I'm just like, what? Why is it put in Joe?
God. Let's hit into our
Yeah.
the second round of the draft, boys.
yeah, day 2 or
Day
I guess
2.
week 2.
We've been plotting on this.
Yeah, I've got my big board ready to go.
So it looks like I've been on the clock for a while now, and
Yeah,
I think I'm really stockpiling maybe for some. I'm writing it down in my book.
Here, so I'm gonna read off the teams real quick.
Yeah,
yeah,
go for it.
Refresher.
So the listeners know. So right now we're halfway through our super conferences. If you haven't been listening, so me, Nick, and Seth are all drafting our own super conferences. There's going to be some teams left out, but that's okay. Basically, we're just trying to draft what we think are the conferences of the future. What will set us up for success, for revenue, for clout, dare I say. I'll read off mine real quick. So I have Michigan, Notre Dame, Clemson, LSU, Texas A&M, Oregon. Nick has the Ohio State University, Bama, Oklahoma, Penn State, Miami, and Wisconsin. And then Seth has Florida, Southern California, USC, Texas, Nebraska, UNC, and Arkansas. And Seth is on the clock with his next pick. A lot of big teams out there.
yeah.
A lot of teams, our listeners probably are like, how are they still on the board? But that's just how it's gone.
How the
yeah,
draft works.
It's NCAA wide. There's a lot of teams out there.
All right. So with the first pick of day 2, I thought the choice was obvious when we departed last time, and I've I've waffled all week on who I might be choosing. But when it came down to it, we had to go with the Big Orange.
I knew it.
The
I was
University of
hoping-
Tennessee will now be in my super conference, an elite school in football and basketball and baseball, to some extent in all 3.
Yeah.
And I think has the potential to grow in the future. A passionate fan base who I think will always support the Vols, and especially once we get rolling in this conference. A natural rival to North Carolina, to Arkansas, and to Florida. I think they'll bring a great academic institution into our conference and be a leader for years to come. So the Tennessee Vols are now in my super conference, which I will be naming by the end of this show. I'm going to name my conference. I don't know if you guys want to name yours, but I think mine will have a name.
I was thinking about making a name for mine.
But I got to find out my few more teams before I really have a name that fits.
I think I'll just be the Diesel Conference.
Diesel.
Conference Diesel, actually.
I like that. Conference Diesel. That just makes your pick seem a little different. All right.
So I'm on the
Crucial.
clock now,
We
right?
snake in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
we're
we have
snaking
to.
the same way.
Right.
So Tennessee was number 1 on my big board. I had a feeling Seth. I kind of had that.
Well, we are going to
premonition
have
there
some
that-
trades later on. Like I
Yeah.
kind of might have taken them as a little bit of a piece. Like I might get some good reward for the Vols later on.
Hmm.
I really can't believe they slipped this far, honestly. That's a school
I
that
know.
you could have easily
I was
taken in the
I was
first
thinking
3
I could get him
rounds.
day 2, and I think I made a mistake by thinking they were going to fall.
You mentioned it too, and I said,
Yeah,
I knew that they were on my board to either pick last of. I either was going to pick them last of day one because I had the last pick of, or pick them. But I'm kind of glad I picked them first for day two. All right, Trush, what you got?
So Tennessee was number one on my big board. And this team that I'm about to select is actually not number 2 or number 3 on my big board currently. But the more I think about it, really just, I think it's the right move here. And it might surprise you guys a little bit, but they just gave their coach a fat extension. They're very good. They have a legendary coach in basketball. We're taking Michigan State for the first draft pick to my team here on the second day.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. Mel Tucker, obviously big. Tom Izzo is a legendary basketball coach. I'm taking programs here that I know are winners. And I think Michigan State is going to be a cornerstone piece in my super conference.
The extension could be a big deal, especially if we're talking about the future. How many years does Izzo have left? I don't know, but
yeah, he probably could be gone here
he's
soon.
Good. He's healthy.
Yeah.
Basketball coaches, man, they get old.
They do. They seem to get a lot older than football coaches.
Yeah, you're out in the sun. You're running up and down the sideline. It wears you out a little bit more on the football.
Mac Brown's fairly old right now, but he's really the oldest guy. I mean, Frank Beamer was pretty old. Paterno was old.
Saban's old.
Saban is old. Saban is old. You kind of forget it.
70.
Yeah, he's old.
70, man.
That's crazy.
All right, so I've got 2 picks coming up here, and I think I know where I'm going for both of them. I'm going to take the defending national champs.
God, that was next on my board.
Georgia Bulldogs. And I'm going to take one of the most storied programs in college football history, one of the most storied college football coaches ever.
I hope this
not
isn't
currently,
my third team.
Not
either.
currently, but I think they're going to get back to their winning ways at some point. And I'm going to take the Florida State Seminoles.
You took my 2 and 3. Jeez. I guess great.
Well, why'd you take your number 4 on the board when you could have taken your top 2 or 3?
Yeah, but I thought they could fall again. I guess I'm just reading the draft room here.
You could, yeah.
Wow, that's
nice
1, 2,
nice
and
pick.
3 off.
I think those are really good to like first picks of day 2, Georgia and Florida State.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
solid.
True.
I'm kind of in a bind here. There are a couple of teams that are still pretty good, but some of the teams that I really wanted.
We did say, are we doing 12-team conferences?
Yes.
12 team conferences. Just had to clarify.
I mean, we could go to round 3 and do 18. Day 3. Who are we picking?
I'm good with 12.
Houston. Welcome to my super conference.
God,
Memphis, you're in.
I would not want to mess with some of those crappy teams.
Oh,
but
great programs.
Yeah, I mean, my big board is really just turned upside down right now. This is not great news, but
says the man
that's
who
why
didn't
it's a
use the big board you already had. You're like, oh yeah, my 2. I'm gonna skip the big. I'm skipping the. This isn't like position needs as much in like football. Like,
yeah,
it's not like, oh, I need a quarterback. You're like, no, I'll just skip. I'll skip who I rank 2 and 3. I'll just go to 4.
Look, I was playing some mind games here, and it didn't work out well, but I think I might skip around my big board again. I didn't really learn my lesson. So I think we're going to make another skip here, and I'm going to skip my number 5 team. We're going to go to number 6. I'm taking Oklahoma State. This might be a little bit of a reach here, but I'm thinking, look, I'm a big Mike Gundy guy. I want him in my conference. And Oklahoma State, great baseball school as well.
Good at basketball too.
Yeah, pretty good in basketball. They had Marcus Smart recently. Who is
Doug Gottlieb?
Yeah, Doug Gottlieb. So I think Oklahoma State, it's going to be another one of those Wisconsin-esque teams that I know they're getting 8 or 9 wins a season in football usually. They had a great season in football last year. And with how the Big 12 is looking in the future here, they could kind of just start running the table. So I'm looking to the future here a little bit that Texas and Oklahoma will be leaving, which leaves the door wide open for Oklahoma State. I'm taking the Cowboys. They're coming home.
Very nice.
A little fact I saw that I was not aware of: Oklahoma State, probably the most notable school, along with Kansas State, never been number 1 in football.
They've been number 2 or 3, right?
They've been number 2.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State, yeah, they made it up to number 2. Never made it up to number 1, at least in the AP poll, is what I saw.
But yeah, I think the success they had last year is going to carry on. So I'm excited to have them in the conference.
Very nice. All right. So after my pick of Tennessee, I have settled in on my second pick of the day. I will be taking, as a brethren in the Midwest, the Iowa Hawkeyes as my team of choice.
Not bad.
Keeping the hero team alive.
I will be absolutely locking down the Corn Belt over there with Nebraska and Iowa locked in. I have a big rival for Nebraska there, border rival. I think that could be exciting in the future. It kind of adds to my Midwest flair. I kind of, with Texas, Arkansas, Nebraska, Iowa, we're kind of in that region of the country a little bit. We're tying in together. So we got that covered. And with my next pick, I will be going West Coast, the PNW, the Pacific Northwest. I'm going with the Huskies out of Washington.
It's on my big board, and now it's gone.
Yeah,
but it was not my number 5. So
Washington will join USC as my westernmost teams. I'm excited to have them in our conference. I think they bring a lot to us, both on the football field. They have a really nice new football stadium. Very cool. Their mascot's the Huskies. They're purple. Very nice. A nice state school to add. They got I don't really know that. I just feel like it's a pretty cool school. Seattle's a cool area. I think they can bring a lot to the conference. Big name brand. Let's go Huskies.
Good pick.
Yeah, I like that pick. It's going to be interesting to see where some of these Big 12 and Pac-12 teams end up as the conferences may just dissolve, or maybe they go on and Washington kind of takes the reins there and starts running it. Who knows? Crazy things can happen. But it is my time here to make another selection. And this is, I'm not jumping on my board this time. We're going back to my roots. We're taking who I selected here. And I think this could end up paying off. I'm a big fan of this school. Actually, not really. I kind of hate this school, but I'm a big fan in terms of bringing them into the conference. Really, basketball wise, I'm excited. Their head coach, Bobby Huggins. We're taking the Mountaineers, West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
He's coming home. We're taking the Mountaineers. Look, they made the tournament last year in basketball, and then in football.
To the place.
Haven't had a conference title in a little while, but that's all right. They're going to be. They've had some success, and they're going to be a good rival for Penn State. I think that's going to be a nice little rivalry we can add in there. So West Virginia, the Mountaineers are being selected as my number 9 team in my conference.
I like it. I've got I've got 2 picks coming up.
Yeah, this is a pretty pivotal moment here for you, Will.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing with the first one.
All right.
The first one, I'm going out west. Oregon's getting lonely out there, so I'm going to grab UCLA.
Oh, my big board
very
is being
nice.
diminished right now.
Very nice. Yeah, that was on my wants list.
Historic basketball program. Football, I think, is on the come up. We'll see.
Play the Rose Bowl, dude. They should be good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just UCLA. I mean, college football out in LA is just kind of cool. UCLA and USC, they're just kind of cool. I don't know what it is. They're going to get some recruits. They'll turn it around. Obviously, basketball's been pretty successful recently and one of the most storied programs of all time. So there's that. Now, I'm really torn. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with another basketball school, but one on the other side of the country. Just about. Another blue team. I'm going with the Kentucky Wildcats.
I just put Kentucky down on my list.
Yeah, they were number 10. So, wow, I only have one team left on my big board now.
Well,
I was going to say,
choice easy.
If we're talking about an entire conference, for day one, my conference is looking pretty weak in basketball, but now it's really turning around. You know, you get UCLA, Kentucky, give it a little more.
Yeah,
oomph.
I don't know. Will, I mean, Michigan's a good basketball program.
Michigan's good. Notre Dame's been good, but
Oregon's had some good years. LSU's been good. A&M not so much, but yeah, Florida State's been good. But yeah, no, you did solidify that area of the. Yeah, you kind of locked up UCLA and Kentucky. That's two pretty good ones in basketball. All right, Truce, what you got?
So we're back on the board here. I only have one team left on my big board. We're going to have to go off script after this.
Easy option.
It's an easy option here. My focus has really been on basketball and football. Another team that has had great success. Well, great success in basketball recently and good success in football recently as well. And that is Baylor. I'm selecting Baylor on my next pick here. They've kind of fallen a little bit. I mean, I think they've got a big football recruiting class coming in. Just recently won a national championship in basketball. They're going to be a cornerstone piece, and I'm very glad to take them at number 10 overall on my my conference here. So
that's a great 10th pick.
I'm very happy.
I kind of can't believe they slid this far, but then I look and it's like, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of the perfect area for them.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. But we're gonna have to get a little scrappy here at the end.
Gonna have to get a little creative. All right, back over to my conference. Maybe it may just be the Conference of Champions. I think that's what I'm going to call it. A little Bill Walton reference there, even though I don't have UCLA. I did want UCLA. That was probably going to be. I don't know if I would have picked them in this next round, but anyway, all right. I've just added a program to my list that I had not really thought of, but I may or may not pick them. I may wait. I got a bunch of question marks on my sheet right now. I think that's where I'm at. But I'm gonna stick to the Southeastern Conference. I'm poaching another team from the SEC, and maybe a little outside the box, but I don't think so because the program support is very, very, very much there, and success in the recent years and history is very much there. The Auburn Tigers will be in my conference. I like Auburn here. All three sports, they made the College World Series. They were number one in basketball for a lot of the year last year, and they have a very storied and historic football program with a national championship in the last 10 years, or at least 12, 13 years. Anyway, I think Auburn brings a lot to the table. I think it's a great athletic program to bring into our conference with a lot of potential. And with that being said, I am going to maybe focus a little on basketball here. But all in all, just get a little regional flair that I need a little more flavor out west. I'm going with Arizona. Arizona Wildcats. I just like the state of Arizona very much. So I'm glad they will be in our conference. They have a storied basketball program. I think they could be better at football. I don't really know. Honestly, probably not, but we need a few automatic wins throughout the year. I think I needed a little more regional in the West because I've committed to Washington. I've committed to Washington and USC. I needed a little more to connect the West out there. So I'm bringing in Arizona.
I like that pick. I
thought about Arizona State too, but I decided on Arizona, the flagship institution. They've won more actual stuff besides baseball. Arizona State's won a lot of baseball, but my thinking is, why can't Arizona be that good at baseball? They should be awesome at baseball.
So I'm kind of torn here. There's a couple of different ways that I can go.
I know I got several different programs I would be happy with if they make it back around.
But at number 11, I think this is a good spot. They haven't had quite the basketball success over the past 7 years or so, but they did have some success in the mid 2010s, and had some very good success in the 90s. Runner up in the national championship in the late 90s, and a Rose Bowl appearance last year. The Utah Utes are being selected at number 11. We needed another Pac-12 team here. Or actually, I don't even think I have a Pac-12 team on my team or on my conference. So we need one of those Pac-12 teams to be selected here. We need some representation out west. Great football success recently, and a team that is really on the rise for football. But basketball, we're going to need some work, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about football. Utah is coming into my conference.
Not bad. Man, last two picks for me, I am very torn. I think I'm going to go with a school. A lot of success in basketball, recent national champs, pretty solid at football at times. I'd say recently pretty good at football. And I need someone to bring the GPA up. So I'm going with UVA, the Virginia Cavaliers.
We were talking about them earlier.
Okay. Now this is where it gets kind of funky. There's a couple really big basketball schools I could go with. And really, I think I could really solidify myself as the basketball conference. Although Seth's looks pretty good too. Actually, yours both does actually not too bad. But I'd say I've got about 4 schools I'm looking at right now. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead. This school is not going to compete much in football, but they're a great basketball school. I'm going with Duke.
Yep. Duke. I like that pick. Really rounded out the academics and basketball schools here at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as I've been talking about, wait, do you have one more, Will, or did you just go 2 in a row?
That was 2 in a row. I went UVA,
okay.
then Duke.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I was doing some research, wasn't paying the closest attention. But during that research, I pulled up a list here of the richest college football programs. And I was pretty surprised to see this team tied with Arkansas in terms of revenue here, tied at 16 for the top 25 most valuable college football programs. And my conference is all about the money, baby. That's what we're looking at here. We want success and money. And who I am taking is in the SEC, we're taking Mr. Rattler and South Carolina as the final pick for my conference here. We needed a little more bolstering from the SEC here. They've got $95 million in revenue from college football last year. They've got a loyal fan base, not as loyal as Tennessee, but I will give them a little praise here. We're taking the University of South Carolina, the real USC, as my last overall pick in the 2022 college athletic programs draft, pay dirt draft. So,
congrats.
Seth, you've got
I'm
a
excited
lot
to pick.
live up to here.
I'm excited for this pick. I will be rounding it out with a basketball-centric selection to also bolster my basketball conference, which is already fairly strong, but it never hurts to add a blue blood. I'm going with a Midwestern powerhouse, the Kansas Jayhawks. Solidifying the Midwest, connecting my conference as the center, and the Conference of Champions will truly be complete. Even my 12th pick has just won the national championship. So I'm very excited about the future of our league. I think I bolstered it there with Arizona and Kansas at the end. I have North Carolina, Arizona, Kansas, Arkansas, Florida, and even Auburn recently. A lot of basketball, strong basketball conference there. But then combined with a lot of on-field football success and just like solid teams, like year in and year out, you're probably gonna produce a couple high-level teams, and then you're just gonna have a lot of competition, a lot of strong, storied programs with great fan support. Really excited. I think my conference is going to be pretty great. I think I will be separating into, I guess, East and West is what it's going to have to be. I think that'd be good. I think I'd get in the East. I'd have Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Auburn, and probably Arkansas. And then in the West, I'd have Kansas, Washington, USC, Nebraska, and Arizona. Nice. Conference of Champions. It's shaping up. What if somehow down the road, I mean, this was kind of fun because this actually could never happen. Like this group of conferences could never, ever happen, but it's fun to think about. And it's fun to see what you guys kind of value in a school, or like, I don't know. It's just been that this has been a fun exercise.
I really like Kansas as your last pick. I kind of wish I would have thought of that one. Did y'all have any honorable mentions or anyone left on your big board that you were thinking about getting?
Yeah. Virginia Tech was on mine.
Yeah, I was thinking about
I really thought about Virginia Tech, and you took Virginia pretty late, and I'd already had Virginia Tech down, and I was like, man, they have a good solid program. That's what I'm kind of attuned. I think healthy football program especially in the future, builds a very healthy athletic program, or at least the chance to have a very healthy athletic program. So they were on mine. And honestly, a team, when I was kind of thinking out West, I thought about going with like a Colorado or something, just to have a fun another state as part of my union. But they didn't quite have any of the high level success I was really looking for my Conference of Champions. So that was kind of all I was thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking potentially Syracuse as a basketball pick. And honestly, they're not like terrible at football either.
Yeah, they've had some good years.
They've had some good years. So I was thinking about Syracuse, and then was also considering BYU a little bit.
BYU would have been a good one.
I thought they could have been, maybe if I had 13, if we did maybe 14 picks, they probably would have ended up in my conference, but they just couldn't win out. But they've had pretty good success in both basketball and football. So I'd say those are kind of two other teams that I was looking at as well.
Yeah, I had 4 left on my list. And I had Indiana, Louisville, Minnesota, and actually UCF was my last one, just because.
Ooh, I thought about UCF. They were the one team outside of Mark. I considered it.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Nice.
But so,
yeah, those are good ones. Indiana would have been pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to read off everyone's, or we can each read off our own. So I'll read off mine real quick. I've got Michigan, Notre Dame, Clemson, LSU, Texas A&M, Oregon, Georgia, Florida State, UCLA, Kentucky, UVA, and Duke.
You had a really strong day too there, Will. Georgia, Florida State, UCLA, especially when you view it in a little bit of a basketball lens.
I know I go defending national champs in football, and then I kind of go just like really good basketball after that.
Yeah, that's nice. It's good.
That was pretty nice. I think I did a little bit better. I will come.
I don't know if I was rating. I don't know, Trish. Going for Oklahoma State with pick number 7. I just think you could have gotten them way later. Okay, yeah, well, pick number 8. I think you could have gotten them at pick number 12. I'll be honest. They weren't on my board.
I'm looking at Oklahoma State. Look, they're going to be them and
good.
Baylor.
Stick with your pick. Believe in it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. If I was
teams.
grading your draft, you'd get like a D+, maybe.
No way. My day one makes up for it. I mean, so I have named my conference the DDC, the Dirty Dozen Conference.
I was thinking about that. The
Dirty Dozen Conference. That is what I am naming my super conference here, and we'll start off with the Ohio State University, University of Alabama, University of Oklahoma, Pennsylvania State University, University of Miami, University of Wisconsin, Michigan State University, Oklahoma State University, West Virginia University, Baylor University, the University of Utah, and University of South Carolina to round out the Dirty Dozen Conference, also known as the DDC. Very happy with my picks here. Look, I'll bring on all the haters. This conference, bar none, it's the SEC of our draft, really. Here, it's the elite conference. It's a conference that everybody wants to see.
How many
football.
the only SEC team you got Bama. The only SEC teams you got in here are South Carolina.
South Carolina and Bama.
Congrats, you poached South Carolina. you're a true conference of champions.
We are a conference of champions.
No, my conference, aptly named the Conference of Champions. We start off with the University of Florida, University of Southern Cal, Texas, Nebraska, North Carolina, Arkansas, Tennessee, Iowa, Washington, Auburn, Arizona, and Kansas. I'm feeling really good about mine, but I mentioned it before, but do we want to open it up for trades? I mean, is there a team? I mean, are we pretty set with our guys, or is there a swap you propose? Would you put something on the trade block?
I'm open to hear any. I don't know if I don't know if I need to trade any.
I'd offer you South Carolina for Tennessee.
South Carolina for Tennessee.
Yeah, come on. Look, they're both SEC teams.
Explain it to me. Make it make sense to me.
I mean, we have the number
Do you
3
believe
quarterback
in
in the
Beamer?
nation. We have the number 3 quarterback in the nation, according to PFF. Hendon Hooker couldn't even break the top 20. So I don't see why you wouldn't want South Carolina, especially with their recent Final Four appearance in basketball. Or did they make it all the way to the Natty that year?
Final Four, I think.
It was Final Four. Yeah. and
More than
20
more Final Fours than Tennessee's been
yeah,
to.
more Final Fours than Tennessee has apparently a better outlook in football, according to PFF. And look, everybody loves Beamer ball. I mean,
National championships in baseball.
yeah,
True.
and I mean, absolute powerhouse in women's basketball.
Very
Best in
true.
the country right now. We
Well,
didn't
good for
really
you.
look at-
I'm glad they're in your conference. Sounds awesome.
Look, I made a clear-cut case as to why you would want South Carolina over Tennessee.
I would
If you don't want to
trade-
listen to that, that's fine.
Hey Seth, actually, I would trade our 12 picks. I'd trade Duke for Kansas.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting. I might consider. I do have North Carolina, so I could throw the.
That would be pretty epic.
You'd have the Duke
Having
UNC
that would
rivalry.
be nice. And I like Duke in my region. Kansas, I was hoping for Arkansas-Kansas basketball rivalry a little bit there. But they don't add much in football, but neither really does Duke. Okay. All right.
All
I'll
right.
accept your trade.
All
I'll
right.
take Duke.
A blockbuster trade here. Now, Will
That's gonna
has the
happen.
reigning national champions in both football and basketball in his conference.
Good point.
I really just I'd probably honestly rather stick to Kansas, but for the sake of the fun of the trade, I'm up for it.
I like Lance Leopold. And I don't think he's going to leave necessarily if Kansas gets solid.
Trade. So I have Duke.
Wow.
Well, I like putting Duke and North Carolina together, to be honest. I do. I like the thought of that. Kansas was a pretty good regional thing for me, but I'll survive in the Midwest.
You got Nebraska and Iowa.
I got Nebraska and Iowa, and yeah, we'll be fine. I honestly was going to offer you Nebraska for something, but
Ooh.
I really like my position there. I need them to anchor the Midwest for me. They're my absolute anchor. Yeah, I'm pretty good with my team. I would trade Washington for Oregon.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
Fine.
Actually,
I didn't sell that one very well. I would do it, but I didn't figure
yeah.
you would go for that one. I mean,
I
it's not
like
like
the Nike. I like the Nike money.
yeah,
with
the
Oregon.
Nike thing with Oregon is pretty crazy and a big advantage.
Yeah.
I was talking about a lady that went to Oregon just recently, talking about Nike and stuff. How big it is. She said, imagine how big it is. It's like 50 times bigger than you could imagine.
Dang.
Everything is Nike in Oregon.
Yeah. Well, good deal. The Conference of
boys.
Champions will fight on.
Yeah, we'll have to
Hey, we need to do what we need to do is take our conferences and stick with them through this next upcoming year and kind of do like a
Ooh.
total
Yeah.
tally of how our conference did.
I like that. Let's say over the whole year.
Yeah,
Or
we'll
just
do it over
for-
football. Like we'll do a football section of it and then we'll regroup and look at
Do a
basketball and
section.
everything.
We
Yeah.
should do a point system. Like
Yeah.
regular season wins are 1 point. If you win your division, that's like 3 or something. If you win a conference
Yeah, we'll
championship,
come
it's
up with-
5.
Five.
We come up with,
Natty is 10 or 15 for sure.
Natty's
That's
like 10, and a bowl game win is worth like 2 or something.
well, or what if it's like a New Year's Eve bowl game? Would that be
Yeah,
worth
that's
more?
oh yeah, good point. Good
All right,
point.
we can come up with the.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
got plenty of
football's
time.
different too because you got 3 times or 3 times many games in basketball almost. So, like a win,
Yeah,
like
we'd
win
have
in
to
football's
make.
got to be kind of a little more valuable
Agreed.
Good point. Good point.
because you can
'Cause-
kind of rack up a lot of wins in
Yeah.
basketball. Which I
Yeah.
mean
That
is
would-
fine. I mean that's part of the conference deal, but I don't know. I figure there's some way to kind of balance it out. But yeah, that'd be fun to kind of track that all year. Keep up with it.
Nice. All right, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Guys, thanks again for listening. This has been Patriot Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. You can check them out at sixpackcoverage.com or at Sixpack Coverage on Instagram and Twitter. Check us out, website, patriotsports.blog, Twitter at Patriot_sports, and on Instagram at Patriot Sports. Guys, thanks again for listening, and we will see y'all next week.
Pay dirt out.